It is wonderful to see everybody as everybody is coming into the meeting. Welcome to Ask Doc Live. So this is this? No, it's not the last Ask Doc Live of 2022. So I'm excited we have one more, but this is the 51st Ask Doc Live of 2022. So everybody, welcome to Ask Doc Live. My name is Becca Dukes, and hello from all of our co-hosts and the great Dr. Joel Wallach, as everybody's waving hello. I just want to give a big shout out to my co-hosts, Nasima Omar, Heather Bowen, Dr. Judy Reynolds, and Ruth Ellen Sanchez. You know, we couldn't make this as successful as we have made it without them. And I cannot forget John T. McCollier, because he is the technical brains behind this whole program and putting it all together and having it on our Critical Health News YouTube page, our Facebook page, Did Doctors Don't Lie. My goodness, we have so many different places that we are sharing the information in regards to what we can do as empowered individuals to actually take control of our health and be confident in doing so. So this program is Ask Doc Live, and I cannot forget that AskDocLive.com, you can find the replays to all of our broadcasts. I'm not really quite sure what we call these things. Programs, broadcasts, podcasts, videocasts, whatever they're called. Welcome to Ask Doc Live. So if you are on live with us, go ahead and make sure that you have that chat option only or on, because in the chat box, our co-hosts are going to be sharing valuable information that will help you find the products that Dr. Wallach is speaking of. But most importantly, if you were invited to this program by somebody specific, make sure that you get back with them and say, hey, I want to try one of these protocols or one of these products that this Dr. Wallach is speaking of on this program that you shared with me. And thank you so much for letting me know that there are things that I can do on my own that are more natural than taking a pharmaceutical. Because folks, we are not chemical deficient, we're mineral deficient. And the doctor that we have on with us each and every week, through his own research, through his own almost 30 or just over 30,000 autopsies on 452 species, and a lot of them were humans, folks. He has found that there is a correlation between mineral deficiencies and over 600 different conditions that have, for many of them, been said to be genetic. Well, through his research, he has written a book that has proven the genetic theory to be incorrect and created a whole science in that called epigenetics. Now, I do want to remind you that the content of this program is to provide educational information only on the importance of nutrition and supplementation, because our food supplies around the world are empty and void of what the body actually needs, not just to survive, but thrive. And in this program, we will be sharing information and nutritional options that have proven time and time again, like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times, to be viable solutions to poor health. Now, the statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, but this amazing doctor and his legal team have sued the FDA 9 times with victories to be able to make claims on specific nutrients and how that they are useful and can be the cause of disease. So if you are pregnant, nursing, or taking medication, please consult your primary health care professional before starting on any program, whether it's eating apples, eating grapefruits, eating spinach even. Talk to your doctor and ask them if it's okay first. But I'm going to talk to my doctor right now and ask him, Dr. Wallach, what is going on right now? I know there's so many things that are changing and not necessarily for the better, except for those of us who know the truth.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the kind introduction. And it's one of those things where this didn't happen overnight, of course. As you pointed out, I had a 10-year study, and the results were shocking to everybody. All the diseases thought to be genetic were found out to be just simple nutritional deficiencies and not genetic. There are no genetically transmitted diseases. I'll repeat that. There are no genetically transmitted diseases. There are no autoimmune diseases where your body's attacking itself. You know, when you have things like lupus and let's see here, rheumatoid arthritis and stuff like that. These things are simply caused by infections and nutritional deficiencies. Excuse me. And as you point out, my work started a whole new science called epigenetics, which replaced the science of genetics. Epigenetics, the death of genetic disease transmission. And my thesis, which is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure, okay, was, let's see here, it was huge. Okay, well, there you go. So I can put mine down. And it's one of those things where the Smithsonian listed it as a national treasure, okay, because it did start saying something. Now, that was back in 1970. You know, we're talking about 50 years ago that this information came out. The medical system continued on their march in the opposite direction. The medical system continued their march in the opposite direction and kept labeling things as genetic and autoimmune because they didn't know the answers and they didn't want to say they didn't know, so they blamed it on the patient, okay? And just most recently, okay, this just came out, the US government just released figures a couple of days ago that our life expectancy for the first time in 25 years has dropped. For the first time in 25 years, our life expectancy has dropped, okay? It had been up to 77 years, our life expectancy for the average American, and they say that it dropped down to 76.4, but there's other agencies that said it's dropped down to 75, okay? And it's one of those things pretty scary when you're having a country that stands on top of the mountain, beats their chest and say we have the greatest healthcare system in the world. And we rank 45th amongst the industrialized nations when it comes to the health of the Americans. We're not doing very well. We rank 45th, okay? And so when you look at the even emergency room doctors, their life expectancy is 58. The average life expectancy of professional athletes is 56, okay? Billionaires is 66. We're not doing very good. There's crazy things happening here. And that's because the medical system uses chemicals to solve problems, okay? And these chemicals can reduce the impact of symptoms. Pain goes away and the patient's happy, but then they die 2 years later because the pain relief really didn't resolve the basic underlying problem, okay? Well, let's dig on here. Australia, their life expectancy is 82.9. New Zealand is 82.3. Japan is 84.7. Canada is 84. China is 76. The UK is 81. Russia is 72. South Africa is 63. I spent 2 years there working on the White Rhino Conservation Project. A book came out of that called Rhino Express. It was my first book I ever wrote. And then let's see here. Italy is 83 life expectancy. Spain is 82. Germany is 81.26. I always find that funny. Egypt 71. Sweden is 82.7. And the point that I'm making here is that we're not doing very well. And that's because we have bet on the wrong horse. Okay, we bet on the medical system instead of the health system. I'm going to repeat that. We have bet on the medical system as opposed to betting on the health system. The health system includes nutrition, okay? And it's costing us big time. Alzheimer's disease costs us, just to treat the symptoms, is $305 billion a year. And it's a relatively new disease. The first case was described in 1910. It didn't start spiking until 1960 when we came out with statin drugs. Alzheimer's disease is just a deficiency of cholesterol. Who told you cholesterol is bad? Well, the medical system told you cholesterol is bad because they made a mistake. Repeat that, they made a huge mistake. They blamed plaque in your arteries, plugged arteries, on cholesterol. No, it was burnt fats, fried foods, processed meats, things like oils, cooking oils, and salad dressings and things like that. This cost us $620. Osteoporosis.
All right, Dr. Wallach is
Osteoporosis.
Oh, you were freezing just a few moments, Dr. Wallach. I was hoping that we weren't completely losing you, but you are fine. Don't go ahead and continue.
Okay, thank you. And then diabetes, just to treat the symptoms, not to prevent it or cure it, we spend $342 billion a year. Heart disease, $316.8 billion a year, just to treat the symptoms. You know, heart transplants, defibrillators, and all that kind of stuff. Obesity, we spend $260 billion a year just to treat the symptoms. Cancer is kind of a surprise. We spend $208.9 billion just to treat the symptoms. And figured out the reason why it's so low compared to the others is they treat you for 3 to 6 months with chemotherapy, and either you live or you die. And so it's not like they're treating you for 75 years like they do for arthritis and osteoporosis. High blood pressure is $131 billion a year just to treat this. And we have a very simple system for that. So it's just a simple nutritional deficiency disease. We can get rid of high blood pressure in weeks. Okay. MS, multiple sclerosis, is $85 billion a year. Very simple nutritional deficiency. It's related to Alzheimer's disease. In fact, was diagnosed and described before Alzheimer's disease was MS, multiple sclerosis. Asthma in kids was a surprise. Asthma in kids under the age of 10, we spend $80 billion a year, $80 billion a year just to treat the symptoms of asthma in kids. It's a very simple nutritional deficiency. We can get rid of it in weeks. Kidney dialysis costs us $24 billion a year. Again, it's a very simple disease, easily gotten rid of in weeks. I take people who haven't urinated in 10 years. They're on dialysis 6 days a week. We put them on our program. In 2 weeks' time, they start urinating, so they drop the dialysis down from 6 days a week to 3 days a week, and in 2 more weeks they're totally off of dialysis. After 25 years on dialysis and 10 years on dialysis 6 days a week, it's all gone because it's a simple nutritional deficiency disease. Okay, now I'm going to again introduce 3 tools and then get deeper into some of these diseases. Tool number 1 is Dial MD for murder. That sounds kind of mean. Dial MD for murder. Well, it's fashioned after the movie Dial M for murder. Okay. And basically, this was a lecture I was giving to a very large crowd, like 3,000 people. Okay. And this lecture goes through not what I thought about the medical system, but what the US government and medical schools thought about the medical system. Okay. And so all of this stuff, all these figures and statistics that I'm giving came from the US government and medical schools, not me. I'm just reporting what they said. And the information was received with shock and gratuity. In other words, they were so excited to get the information and realize how badly the system was and how badly they were using information, and the results were just awful. Okay. The second CD set, now that one's available. Dial MD from Merv is available right now. You can order all you want. Okay. This next CD set has 3 CDs in it, and it's to help support our program with Rebound, or sports drink, which comes in sticks, 30 sticks in a box. We have a canister. There's 36 servings in a canister. We have the cans. There's 12-ounce cans. There's 12 of these in a case. Okay. And of course, there you go. That's the canister. Okay. And the cans, you have to pop the tops. I do that on 2 of them at night before I go to bed, put them in the refrigerator. They off-gas all the bubbly during the night, so they're flat in the morning. No carbonation, because carbonation neutralizes stomach acid, so you cannot absorb minerals efficiently, nor can you digest food without stomach acid. Okay, so these 3 CDs are designed to support our what should I say, our competition with Red Bull, which was the first really, I shouldn't say the first, but it was the first really super magnitude energy drink. It wasn't the first one. There's a new Bull in town is the name of this 3 CD set. They're all available. We're just waiting on the label to be finished for the package. So you can get the 3 CDs without the package label if you want now. But if you want to wait another week or 10 days or 2 weeks, then you'll get the package with the label on it. Okay. Dead athletes don't lie. We looked at professional athletes, Olympic athletes, university athletes, amateur athletes, ones who are dying in their 20s and 30s and 40s from simple nutritional deficiency diseases. Okay, so that CD is named Dead Athletes Don't Lie. The second CD is Exercise Without Temptation to Suicide. It illustrates really very wealthy people, corporate CEOs and corporate owners and so forth, who, would be highlighted in the news and everything for exercising. And so, see, everybody needs to exercise, blah, 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 blah. And then they would die in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay. So that's all in this Exercise Without Temptation to Suicide. The third one, what kills billionaires? And again, professional athletes, the average lifespan is 56.7. The average life expectancy for billionaires is 66.7. Okay. So they can afford the best medications. They can afford the best doctors. They can go anywhere in the world for the best treatments. So why are they so low? Well, that's because they believe that exercise is very, very good for you. And they just exercise and don't pay attention to the 90 essential nutrients that are required to replace what you're sweating out. Because when you're sweating, you're not just sweating out water, you're sweating out nutrients. Okay. And if you're not replacing them, plus replace what you've lost, plus add what you need to prevent the early death, you're going in a downward spiral. Okay. It's just that simple. And then, of course, we have the 10 CD set that pharmacist Keith Abel and I did, the 10 healthy secrets that doctors don't want you to know, the 10 healthy secrets doctors don't want you to know. And each CD is a different classification of major diseases. That's a big one. All right. Energy drink started in 1985. Coca-Cola came out with the first one called Monster. It was primarily sugar and caffeine. Okay. And then Red Bull came out in 1987 by an Austrian who just died a couple of months ago at age 78. And he was bragging until the day he died that he drank 10 cans of Red Bull a day for 25 plus years. And then he died. Okay. Excuse me. And then Rockstar came out in 2001. That was a Pepsi Cola product. And we came out in longevity with in 2011 Rebound. Rebound has 75 minerals in it. Rebound has 75 minerals in it. Rebound has 75 minerals in it. And Red Bull has 1. Red Bull has 1 mineral. Red Bull has 1 mineral, magnesium. Rockstar from Pepsi Cola has 1 mineral. Okay. Vitamins, Rebound has 12. Red Bull has 4. And Rockstar has 5. Okay. We depend on the nutrition to support your systems and cells to give you the energy and stamina you need to maintain and repair yourself and, be the best you can be. These other drinks just provide carbohydrates for energy. Okay. Now, let me tell you, it's one of those things where there's in this CD, Dead Doctors, let's see, Dial MD for Murder. There you go, Dial MD for Murder. One of the big studies, okay, that the government and universities came out with, the universities and government came out with these studies. They showed that if you ate carbohydrates with every meal, it cost you in longevity. If you cut your carbohydrates down to like 10% of what you're doing, we quadrupled the life of laboratory animals. Okay, when they were going with the standard laboratory animal diet, they would live 1 year. We cut the carbohydrates out, kept all the vitamins, minerals the same, and they would live 2 years. We cut their carbohydrates down to 10%. They lived 3 years. It cut it out almost entirely. They still had all the vitamins and minerals. They lived 4 years. Okay, so we quadrupled their lifespan just by eliminating the carbohydrates. Okay, the expense of treating disease is just enormous. Of course, we've gone over that. Okay, it's very, very scary stuff. The expense is just like crazy. Okay, and so it's one of those things where I want to go back to the beginning here, and I think we covered that. Okay, and so arthritis, and again, osteoporosis. We spend $3 trillion a year with a T just treating the symptoms of arthritis and osteoporosis. That's why so many doctors want to become orthopedic surgeons. Okay, they want you to come in for your arthritis problem because they want to latch onto you and get you going with one of their programs, and they will have an income stream from you for maybe 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, that's how that works. Okay, and so it's just very, very scary. And then osteoporosis of the skull, doctors don't know anything about that. And of course, this is one of my favorite things because this is one of my newest books that came out just a couple of years ago now. And the top skull cut above the ear and above the eyes, top of the skull called the cranium is pulled off. You can see the brain in there. That's a normal skull. It's a 1/4 inch thick. The bottom one's also a human skull. It's 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. Okay. And it's one of those things where you can see where the 12 pairs of tunnels, because there's 12 pairs of cranial nerves and the spinal cord, they're losing 75% of their interior space and putting pressure on these nerves and the spinal cord. And so you
Doc, you can put yours down. I have mine just a little bit bigger. That way they can see it while you're speaking and not hide you.
Okay, well, basically we can only see a white border there because the pictures of all our
That's
other.
what you see. You've got something in the way. I'll just ignore that.
Okay, so other people can see it. Okay, good.
Yep.
Of course, we do have a CD that's done by Becca and myself. Okay, and the CD adds new stuff to this, and so when we reprint the book, okay, it's going to have some of this new stuff in it also, because it's very, very scary. When you have osteoporosis of the skull, you lose your sense of smell. That's cranial nerve number 1 being squeezed. Cranial nerve being 2 being squeezed, your optic nerve is squeezed, and you slowly lose your vision. It's not your eyes, okay? It's the optic nerve being squeezed by the skull. Remember, your optic nerve and your optic artery and the optic vein come through and from the brain. Ptosis, your pupil not being able to respond to light, is cranial nerve number 3 being squeezed. Double vision and palsy, pain in the eye is cranial nerve number 4 being squeezed. Cranial nerve number 5 being squeezed is trigeminal neuralgia. I mean, that is a painful face ache and headache. Trigeminal neuralgia. Cranial nerve number 5 being squeezed. Cranial nerve number 6 being squeezed, you get double vision. Cranial nerve number 7 being squeezed, you get Bell's palsy. One side of your face droops. And cranial nerve number 8 being squeezed, you get tinnitus, ringing in the ears, you get deafness, vertigo, and all these together are called Meniere's disease. Cranial nerve number 9 being squeezed, you lose your gag reflex, your ability to taste, and your voice is changing and so forth. You can't swallow properly. Cranial nerve number 10 being squeezed, you get atrial fibrillation. Your doctors think you have a terrible heart disease because your heart is just beating crazy, but it's not a heart problem. but they think it is. So they cut you open, they anesthetize you, cut you open, take your heart out, take a hot branding iron and touch it all over the heart, trying to find the place that's causing the heart to cause a regular beat, but it's not the heart. It's the cranial nerve number 10 being squeezed by the skull. Okay. And you get hiccups, you get COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, you get gastroparesis from that same 10 cranial nerve number 10, the vagus nerve being squeezed. And gastroparesis, I mean, it is terrible stomach pain. I mean, it'll drop you to your knees. It is bad. Bring tears to your eyes and drop your knees. The doctors say, oh, they just say off the hip, oh, you probably have an ulcer in there. Let's just go in and take out your stomach and you won't have the pain anymore. And then cranial nerve number 11, you can raise your arms, because when cranial nerve number 11 is being squeezed, you can't raise your arms because they control the trapezius muscles to raise your arms. Cranial nerve number 12, you have atrophy of the tongue, the throat, lose your ability to speak and so forth. So if you're getting cranial nerve number 9 and 12 being squeezed, you can't communicate, you can't swallow safely and that kind of stuff. The spinal cord being squeezed, I always ask the patients whether they have complaints or not. How many times at night you wake up to urinate? None, once, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times. They say, I never wake up at night to urinate. So that tells you that the skull's not squeezing the spinal cord. But they say, I get up 3 to 5 times a night, and I never used to get up. In the last couple of years, I've been getting up 3 to 5 times. I get people saying, oh my God, I get up 10 times a night, every 2 times an hour. I'm getting up to urinate. Okay, and if you're a male, you go in, you tell your doctor that. They'll say, oh, you have a prostate problem. Let's just take your prostate out. You can't say it about a woman because women don't have prostate glands. Okay, and so it's one of those things. So what's causing that in women? Okay, well, the same thing is causing it in men. The skull is squeezing the spinal cord, and the spinal cord is telling your urinary bladder to urinate. Okay, and then again, your spinal cord being squeezed. You have all these things going on: trigger finger, hammer toes. You get all kinds of stuff going on in every joint in your body south of your skull. Okay, it's called Wallach's fibrosis. Okay, Wallach's fibrosis, because the skull, when you have osteoporosis, it's actually fibrous connective tissue replacing normal bone. It takes like 5 times the amount of fibrous connective tissue replacing normal bone to make the skull happy. Okay, but when the skull is happy with 5 times the amount of connective tissue, it causes all this pathology. So we named it Wallach's fibrosis because nobody else knew what was going on. So I'm going to take credit for it because nobody else knew what was going on. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I think you get the idea. Okay. And it's one of those things where just don't forget the life expectancy of professional athletes is 56.7. The life expectancy of, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it's around 2,000 every year in America alone. Under the age of 25, professional athletes, Olympic athletes, they die from hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, heart disease, sudden heart death. And this was actually the same cause of death in kids under the age of 1 year that were, said they died of SID, sudden death syndrome. And the doctors, now this is crazy. The doctors blamed the mothers for laying on the babies and killing them by suffocating them. They did that for like 30 years. They were blaming the mothers for laying on the babies and suffocating them. And that's one of the reasons I got the Klaus Schwarz Award in 2011, because I discovered the cause, prevention, and cure of cystic fibrosis, one of the more terrible birth defects. I found the cause, prevention, and cure for muscular dystrophy, gave it to Jerry Lewis. He took it to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. They summarily terminated him and shut down the telethon. And then 2 years later, poor Jerry died, but at least he knew before he died that we had found the cause, prevention, and cure for muscular dystrophy. I was very proud of that. And then we also found the cause and prevention of sudden death syndrome, SIDS. Okay. And we changed the name to crib death because the mothers were not laying on the babies. They were dying in the cribs. They were not dying in bed with their mothers. Okay. Doctors, that's why we say dial MD for murder, because doctors were giving out misinformation. And there were thousands of babies died each year. I take that back. There were thousands of babies died each month in America because doctors didn't have the right story. They continued to give out misinformation. Okay. Let's see here. I think I'm going to pass this back over to Becca and see what we got going here.
Well, Dr. Wallach, you covered quite a bit. And I know in this past week, there have been 2 athletes that have died, 172, 131. And when you do the average of that, that's 51 and a half
Hmm. Yeah, these are professional athletes.
professional athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not a sad thing. This is a criminal thing. Okay? Because their trainers, they really don't talk about the 90 essential nutrients, which is required for maintenance, but also for repair. When you exercise, you're killing cells. Okay. And you need to make new ones. But if you don't have all the right raw materials, you can't make new ones. Okay. You just keep spiraling downward, 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 downward. And this is why I say dial MD for murder, but it's not me coming up with statistics. It's the federal government, it's medical schools, it's insurance companies, and I'm just reporting what they're reporting, but I have interpreted it differently than they did. They're saying this is all due to, well, they just had bad genes. No, didn't matter what brand of jeans they were wearing. Okay, it wasn't these. Okay.
Well, Dr. Wallach, similar to plants, because plants can't make minerals, neither can we as humans.
Wait a
So
minute,
unless we
let's not rush it so quickly. You said something very profound there. What nutrients, what required nutrients do plants make for us?
Well, there's the phytonutrients,
Vitamins.
if vitamins,
Yeah, they make
minerals,
vitamins.
they're in the ground.
Okay, now let's stop there. Let's go back. Plants make vitamins.
Okay.
Vitamin C, all the B vitamins, vitamin A, beta carotene. Plants make all those vitamins. Okay, how many minerals do plants make?
They don't make any.
They don't make any, zero. So
Not
where do plants?
on their own.
Okay, no, they don't make them at all. And so what or where do plants get minerals in them?
Well, they have to suck them up through the roots from the ground.
Okay, now do nutritional minerals occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth?
No, I like your analogy of the chocolate ripple ice cream.
Okay, chocolate ripple ice cream. Okay, and gold and silver. They occur in veins like chocolate ripple ice cream. They occur in veins like gold and silver. And so we learned this in the agricultural industry. Remember, I have a degree in agriculture. I have a degree in veterinary medicine. I have a degree in pathology. And I'm a naturopathic physician. And so it gives me a kind of a 360-degree insight into things that medical doctors only have a 10% view of. Now, for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, human beings were using wood ashes and coal ashes for fertilizer for their garden and also as spice in their food. And they were getting minerals that way. Now, they weren't getting all 60 essential minerals, but whatever minerals were in the soil in that location, they got by putting the wood ashes and coal ashes into their food. That's how they got minerals. Now, once we went to a thing called, let's see here.
Electricity?
Electricity, yeah, that electricity stuff. Okay, with Thomas Edison. When he pulled that switch at 3:00 in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, in the bluff overlooking the construction of Brooklyn Bridge, he set off a terrible storm that by the year 1900, 18 years later, we had 40, 50 new diseases that nobody had ever seen before. And doctors deemed them to be genetic and autoimmune because they'd never seen them before. And they didn't want to say they didn't know. So they blamed it on the patient. Okay. Well, that's not true. Okay. It's not the patient's fault. Okay. It's the fact that the soils are depleted. And the U.S. Senate document 264 came out in 1936. I keep repeating that just about every show because it's an important thing. It's not me saying that. It's not me saying that. Okay. It's not me saying that. It's the what should I say?
Well, it's a Senate document. So somebody's
yeah, Senate document 264.
done it.
Yeah. And so what they said, U.S. Senate document 264 came out and said this is 1936, that we no longer have enough minerals in our farm soils to support a long, healthy life in humans. It's a crazy, crazy thing. And so it's one of those things where we have to make up that difference. doctors don't know this. And so maybe I should kind of, say something a little bit different and say, was it only ignorant doctors?
Well, Doc, they're going by what they've been taught in school.
Okay.
So I'm not blaming it on the doctors. I'm blaming it
Who
on the
teaches the doctors?
institution.
Doctors teach the doctors.
Well, yeah, but the doctors, the teachers are teaching what the institute gives them permission to teach. It's just like schools today. They are given, we can't hear anything else, Doc. Focus.
Okay.
We've
Okay.
got this.
I'm hearing all that crashing in the kitchen.
Well, we don't hear it.
Okay.
So it's all good.
Okay.
But I think maybe we need to do a program where we really focus and dig into that Senate document and then find supporting data that's even since then to confirm it, because I've seen it.
Well, see, they came out with that conclusion because of supporting information. They didn't just make that up out of the ozone. Okay.
Right.
They had an enormous amount, believe me, they had an enormous amount of information before they would say something like that. And one time I did look through all that, and they went through so many publications from farm journals and farm magazines and agricultural departments of universities doing soil studies and so forth. It's very obvious that we have a huge problem. And of course, plants only require, I'll repeat that, plants will absorb any minerals that are in the soil, but they only require 3 NPK. And is nitrogen a mineral? Okay, it's a gas. Okay.
I was gonna say, I think it's a gas.
Yeah. Yeah, nitrogen's a gas. It's not really a mineral. Okay. And so it's one of those things where the nitrates, okay, which where the nitrogen is in a solid form, it's still not a mineral. Okay. And so it's one of those things, plants need those 3 substances, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, to maximize their ability to manufacture the vitamins and amino acids and fatty acids, which they have the capacity to do. They cannot manufacture minerals under any circumstance. They have to get them in the soil, in the water. And that's why we have these cultures and countries that are scattered around the world, that they have a life expectancy of 120, like the Hunzas in the Himalayan mountains. Okay. And the Hunzas, many of them live beyond 120. I mean, that's just their expectancy. They live to be 130, 140, 150, and so forth. We've had a few of those. Right now, the record in the Western world, okay, the industrialized nations, the record is Jean Calment from France. There's others banging on the door wanting to say they've lived longer, but they haven't proved it enough for the governments to sanction their claims. But the ones that everybody agrees on is Jean Calment from France. She died in 1997 at age 122 years, 164 days. So that should be a minimum of everybody's goal, to live to be 122 years, 164 days. Let's go there. But I think we can do better than that. We can live to be at least 120. And of course, even biblically, the Old Testament said a man years shall be 120. Okay. And so if God said it, it must be true. And so it's one of those things where I think we're shorting ourselves by just, following advertising and getting caught up in advertising and getting some misinformation from people giving out nutritional information that shouldn't be giving out nutritional information. Okay. And so this is why I keep hammering on this, because we know the truth. We know the facts. We know how to employ them to maximize our health and longevity. But so many people are taken advantage of because they have insurance. I think that's the big problem. Because there's insurance, doctors say, we can charge them all this money because insurance pays for it. It's not a big load on the patient, but they have insurance. They work for this big corporation that was paying for their insurance. So I don't feel guilty about charging them, all this money. And so I think the insurance concept started this whole downward spiral, coming up with things that'll just relieve symptoms so that the patient's happy and stick with the treatments for years and years and years and years, and then they eventually die from the deficiency.
Yeah, I was speaking with somebody last night. We were talking about insurance and how they get moved from one specialist to another specialist, and then they'll just do one treatment. And instead of just getting it done, for what we were talking about, it's like these little stages that get prolonged and prolonged and prolonged. It's just crazy. But I want to go back to the minerals. Okay.
Before you do that, I want to ask one question. Okay. Everybody should ask their doctor, what golf course are they a member of? And then when they get forwarded to, to another doctor for, another opinion, ask what golf course they're attached with. And their golf.
Dr. Wallach, what golf course are you attached to?
Not one.
Okay.
I like big balls. Like I'm a soccer ball guy. I'm a football guy.
We got the World Cup. Yep. Go 49ers. There we go. But let's go back to the minerals, because I had a really good question come up this week through an email. Now, plants only require 3 substances, and if it's not in the ground that they're grown in, it's not there. And the question was, would burning the old garden after the harvest, be the same as putting wood ash in the garden?
Well, the danger there is you're going to burn a lot of the humus, which is the organic material in the soil that contains the minerals. You're going to burn part of the soil. When you burn, if you want to rake all that plant debris, that's still left in the garden off the side and not in the garden, and burn that pile, then you can take those ashes and spread them all over the garden. But don't burn the garden, because then you'll be destroying the humus, which has been, you want to build up the humus in the soil. You don't want to be burning it every year.
That's a really good point that I hadn't thought of. So thank you so much for sharing that. But what is so important about wood ash? Because you always talk about wood ash and putting the wood ash back into the garden.
Okay, well, wood ashes are 95% minerals and 3% carbon. Okay, so whatever minerals were in the ground where that tree grew, if there was 18 minerals in the ground, those 18 minerals are in that wood ash. If there is 27 minerals in the ground there's 27 minerals in that wood ash. If there was only 3 minerals in the soil, there's only 3 minerals in that wood ash. But you're getting some minerals from any wood ash, from your fireplace, your fire pit, your stove, any place you burn wood or coal, your furnace, you're going to get some minerals. But you don't know how many, because you don't know what was in the soil in which that wood came from. You go and you buy a load of wood. Where did that wood come from? Oh, it came from Minnesota. I want to know what county it came from. And then you can find out how many minerals were in that soil there in that county in Minnesota and get some idea what you're getting in that wood ash. But there, it's not a universal thing. It depends on what was in the soil where that tree grew. Plants do not make minerals. So you can't say, well, I use wood ash, and so I'm getting all the minerals I need. No, you don't know where it grew, how many minerals were in the soil where the tree grew. Why are there deserts? There's deserts because they don't have more than 3 minerals in the soil.
Well, and then going back to the minerals being in veins, where a plant, they're only going down 12 inches. If it's a plant with a taproot, it could be maybe 24 inches. And whatever's in that 24 inches is the minerals they're going to get. With a tree, you got a 40-foot tree, it might have roots going down 40 feet. So you're getting more ground there that would be then the ability to contribute to more minerals, right?
Well, that's a potential. And here's where you got to contact the university in that state, preferably if there's one close to the county that you're living in, if it has an agricultural department, and ask them that question, because they have a file. They can go online and get all the answers to that question, because the amount of minerals will vary. Remember, it used to flood every spring. And when we went to electricity, not only did we give up wood ashes, but we gave up the re-implantation of silt every spring when they had the spring floods. And people were so happy. Oh, no more floods. We got all these dams now for hydroelectric. And they dammed up the rivers and streams, and it shut off the annual renewing of the soil by the silt coming from the floods. And when the flood water would recede, the farmer would go out there and plow in all that silt back into the soil, and it would be renewed every year. That's why they weren't paying attention to it, because they had a system. They didn't realize, even the guys putting that silt back in, they just knew that it fertilized the soil, but they didn't realize that without doing that, after 2 or 3 years, the minerals that were in that topsoil would be gone. And the floods would replace that by the silt coming down. And then the farmers plowing it back into the soil or disking it back down in the soil. And so once we put up all those hydroelectric dams and flood control dams, it shut off our food supply.
And not just our food supply, Dr. Wallach, but also the food supply going into the oceans that feed the reefs and all of
the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef, we had a big conversation, about that with our dear friend, and she'll be running her program this weekend. And she, you know who I'm talking about.
Well, there's a couple people, Dr. Wallach, that I can think of.
No. This is our friend who's doing Australia.
Darcy?
No.
Oh, well, Cheryl Morley's going to be doing, or she's going to be part of Dr. Wallach, you have so much going on, and I don't have your calendar in front of me.
Okay,
so I'm focused right here.
No, this is one of your people. She is a distributor of yours in Australia. Okay, and she's she and I do a thing on Thursday.
Oh, she's one of Longevity's distributors, not mine personally, but Bronnie.
Yes. Yeah, Bronnie. Yes. Yeah. Okay, and so we talked about the Great Barrier Reef for quite a while. Okay, so that's going to be run tomorrow, the Great Barrier Reef, and how the northern part, which is the Great Barrier Reef, is 1,200 miles long along the west coast of Australia. 1,200 miles. Okay, and the northern 25% is quite normal. The southern 25% is quite normal, but the center is dying because they've dammed up all the rivers and streams to make electricity for the big cities in central Australia. Okay, so all that silt that had been going for thousands and thousands and thousands of years into that center part of the Great Barrier Reef. And Bronnie is making a big, this is her favorite thing, is that reef. She wants to save the reef. And so we spent a lot of time dealing with that, and in addition to heart issues for humans, but we're dealing with the reef because it's a very simple fix. You have to have pumps and to pump the silt around the dams, okay? And that's one way, and just get it to go back down the normal flow of the rivers and streams south of the dams, or it can be put into containers, 400-gallon containers, and put it on ships, and the ships can go up and down the Great Barrier Reef and dump all that minerals, silt, into during low tide, and dump it there. But I prefer the streaming constantly that way. Okay, and so at any rate, that could be a big hoo-ha tomorrow on
awesome, on Bronnie's World.
On Bronnie's World. There you go.
Very cool. Well, Dr. Wallach, we have some hands that are up, so let's go ahead and go to the first hand that is up. And Amy, go ahead and unmute yourself. If you're able to come on live camera with us, that would be absolutely fabulous. I just sent you a request to unmute, Amy.
Hi.
There you go. Welcome to Ask Doc Live.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how can we help you?
Thank you for taking my call. I called to ask about my tinnitus, have ringing in my ears.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been going on for years. And it seems like when I don't get enough sleep or I'm tired, it gets louder.
Okay, now let me ask you a couple of quick questions. How old are you?
49.
Okay. And let's see here. How tall are you and what do you weigh?
5'2", maybe 125.
Okay. Do you have any dizziness or balance problems where you need to use a walker or a cane or?
No, although when I got the vaccine, I had a lot of balance issues for about 2-3 days afterwards.
Okay. All right. Do you have any high blood pressure or diabetes?
Not high blood pressure. I could be borderline for diabetes.
Okay. And then what about, let's see here. Do you have any receding gums or loose teeth or dental implants?
I do have receding gums,
Okay.
not the others.
Okay. Do you have any TMJ, any arthritis of your TMJ joint?
I'm sorry, what is that?
Temporal mandibular joint, your jaw joint?
I used to grind my teeth, but I don't do that anymore. Is that
Okay.
what you're talking?
Yeah. How many times you wake up at night to urinate? Once, 3 times, 5 times?
I don't. I usually sleep through the morning.
Okay, good. All right. So, Becca, what's going on here?
Oh, Dr. Wallach, she definitely has osteoporosis of the skull.
Yeah. You have osteoporosis of the skull. And again, I'm going to show you that picture unless you want to show it.
I'll show it.
Okay, you show it. In this picture, okay, I'm assuming they can see it because I can't see it.
Well,
You have to hold it
I've
over your
got it.
right shoulder. Hold
I
it
know.
over your right shoulder.
It was underneath epigenetics.
Hold it over your right shoulder. There you now I can see it. Okay. So you see the top skull is normal. It's a 1/4 of an inch thick. The bottom skull has osteoporosis of the skull.
I'm sorry, I can't see it. Hold on, let me
She's-
see.
The general
Oh.
audience can see it, so
Yeah,
Okay.
the general audience can see it. Okay. And so the skull in the bottom is 1.5 to 2 inches thick. And it squeezes all those nerves that are going through the 12 pairs of cranial nerves and also the spinal cord. And so when you have tinnitus, that's the auditory branch of the 8th cranial nerve being squeezed. Okay. And you have diabetes, that's another deficiency. Okay. And so what would you give Amy to deal with her problems? So she got osteoporosis of the skull, she's got diabetes.
So it would definitely be the osteoporosis of the skull protocol, Dr. Wallach, that you have been recommending, which would be the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack. So the Brain and Heart Pack includes our Beyond Tangy Tangerine, our Osteo FX. Both of those are powders that you can mix together. 1 scoop of each in about 16 to 20 ounces, and then you drink it throughout the morning. I would recommend, until you know how your body can respond to it, because of all those amazing B vitamins, don't go past 3 o'clock if you want to sleep. Okay. It is very much, there's a lot of positive energy mixed into that. That pack also has the EFAs, essential fatty acids, in 2 different forms. So we've got the EFA plus and the ultimate EFA. For the EFA plus, it's 1 tablet 3 times a day per 100 pounds. So if you're at 150 pounds, you're right on the border of doing a second dose. And then the ultimate EFA is 2 3 times a day. Now, people don't realize the importance of essential fatty acids, and it's not just fish oil. So ours are different. They combine essential fatty acids from different sources. So you're getting the best of all that's available. And then the ultimate selenium. Ultimate selenium includes 5 cofactors, not just selenium. And those are all very, very important to be utilized throughout the body. And that's 1 3 times a day per 100 pounds.
How many eggs should she be eating a day?
Well, 3 twice a day is what you recommend.
Absolutely. 3 twice a
I'm
day.
sorry, what is 3 times twice a day?
Eggs.
Oh, eggs.
Comes out of the
Eggs.
bottom of a chicken.
Not just
I
chickens.
eat I eat a 2-egg omelet in the morning, Can
Add
I
one
do
more.
that or have to spread out?
Well, add one more, but don't overcook it. So you,
And cook it in butter, not margarine or oil.
yeah,
Not
on low heat.
even like avocado oil? It has to
No.
be
No,
butter,
no.
right?
What's
Okay,
the difference
that's
between
fine.
shooting yourself in the head with a 45, a 38, or a 22?
All the same.
All the same. See, it doesn't matter where the oil comes from, it's still bad. Olive oil is bad. What? But the Italians, yeah, well, they're not living to be 100.
So can I continue, Doc?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, and then collagen peptides. So collagen peptides include the 5 different types of collagen that our body uses throughout in all the connective tissues. So your bones, your joints, I said bones, that's not right. Your cartilage, your tendons, the ligaments, the discs between the vertebrae, all of those need collagen to stay strong and healthy.
And the
So
bones still need collagen because
they do.
the bone matrix, where all the minerals sit on, is made from collagen.
All right. So I wasn't wrong.
No.
And then so that's going to be, I like to do 1 scoop twice a day, Dr. Wallach. And I mix it in my tangy tangerine drink. I mix it in tea. I mix it in my soul, and it can be mixed hot or cold. It
You can put in
doesn't change
applesauce for
the flavor.
kids.
Applesauce, yogurt. Oh, I love our mineral sticks, Dr. Wallach, with that tart cherry extract and scoop or a full dose of collagen and a full dose of plant-derived minerals, and you mix it in plain Greek yogurt, full fat. Amazing taste.
There's 30 of those sticks in a box.
Yep, there's 36 in the box. And so you're getting some good protein, you're getting minerals, you're getting collagen. It's great. It's a great way to get that all in a yummy treat. And then Ultimate Daily Classic, Dr. Wallach, to help keep the blood clean and flowing, good circulation throughout the body so that all these nutrients are distributed as they should be, and vitamin D3. You want to make
Okay,
sure
what about diabetes?
for diabetes, it's the sweeties.
There you go.
So it's giving those minerals that the pancreas needs to create insulin, and the cells need to be able to utilize the insulin that's been given.
Yeah. And again, diabetes is not a genetic disease. It's not an autoimmune disease. It's very simple nutritional deficiency. We take people who have been diabetics for 40 years. We put them on our healthy blood sugar pack, and within weeks, their blood sugar is dropping like a rock. And within a month or so, they're usually off their medication. Don't cold turkey off the medication when you start our healthy blood sugar pack. Okay. What you want to do is, as your blood sugar drops, and it will, test your blood sugar every day like you're supposed to. As your blood sugar begins to drop, you can slowly reduce the medication, your prescription medication, based on the numbers, and you'll be amazed. I mean, it's like one of those things where, why didn't my doctor tell me this? Well, your doctor wasn't taught this in medical school. That's why dial MD for murder. You got to get that CD, because again, these are in that CD, it's all statistics that I was giving to a big crowd of 3,000 people on all these diseases that are caused by mineral deficiencies, okay, and wrong clinical management of the cases, okay. And the government agencies, not me, about half a dozen different government agencies, and I don't remember, it was 2 or 3 medical schools researched it when the government came out with it. The medical schools researched it and said, oh, they're right. We have a problem here. Okay. And so that information is available all on that CD, dial MD for murder. And you know, MDs are fathers and brothers and sisters and mothers and so forth. And so they're human beings too. And we love them. But when they create a monster system, we have to point the finger.
Well, and I don't think that they intentionally go into that monster system, Dr. Wallach. They go in with pure-hearted intention and wanting to help people. And they believe and trust that what they are being taught is going to help them to do that. So I don't demonize doctors whatsoever. It's very unfortunate that the institutes don't have, well, they're bought. Let's just leave it at that. But anyways, it is time for a break, Dr. Wallach.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and take 5 minutes. Everybody get up and stretch. If you have rebound, and this is my favorite one, even on a keto diet, it is lower in sugar, but it's giving you all of the minerals that the body needs to be able to keep from having that like keto flu, because the keto flu is not the flu. It's coming from mineral deficiencies, because when you change your diet, when you're going, like Dr. Wallach said, removing those carbohydrates, you're not getting that quote unquote fortified food, and the rebound or just the plain plant derived minerals help to give you what's missing that could create that keto flu. So rebound is one of my friends, but I love those mineral sticks. We will be right back. You are watching Ask Doc Live, sponsored by AskDocLive.com. Get back with the person that shared this information with you and thank them for giving them the opportunity to have knowledge that can help them, because folks, we can do it ourselves. We're now in a do-it-yourself environment where when we have our own best interest, we're able, and arm it with knowledge, we're able to make the right choices for us. We will be right back. All right, welcome back. So I hope everybody was able to get up and stretch. I see cameras and I know some of you did not. So go ahead and do a little stretch right now. It is all good. And let's go ahead and make sure that our waiting room has everybody in it. And yeah, thank you everybody for being here on Ask Doc Live. Again, my name is Becca Dukes, and as the host of this program, it is my great honor to be able to provide this resource to you, for you to share with others as well, because they're not going to get this information from very many places. And even though it is a worldwide encyclopedia on what can be found on the internet, we've got to remember that, you know, Siri does not always give you the answer that comes from all different resources. So we want to be very, very diligent in making sure that the information that we are looking at when we do research is coming from different organizations that have a reputation that promotes not just one side of the story. We've got to look at the full picture, folks. And the full picture is our bodies need 90 essential nutrients, plain and simple, period. We cannot get them all from food. We cannot get them all from meat. It all comes together. I mean, it's not a one size fits all, except for the fact that we were all created in the same way, depending on what nutrients our parents had when we were thought of and conceived, and then through that whole development does play into, you know, how life might be. But with epigenetics, I think that's probably my favorite science, because I had so many different things going on with myself and so many different negative conditions throughout my family that I know I almost felt hopeless, and many others do as well, thinking, well, that's just going to be part of my story too. Well, fortunately, I have been able to break that story. I have been able to break free of all the different conditions that I had, whether it was things that were nutritional deficiencies or from accidents. I mean, I was in a car accident that caused some damage. I fell on a ladder and broke my back. All these things. I thought I was going to be living with pain for the rest of my life. And fortunately, I don't. And I'm not, Dr. Wallach. And it all started when I found you. So you are my favorite doctor.
Well, we make a great team, and we have lots of people to help. We've got a great team with us, and so we're
Yes,
so
we
glad
do.
to have them.
Yes, we do. And we have some great people here with us, Dr. Wallach, with their hands up. So
Okay.
let's go ahead and get to more questions here on Ask Doc Live. And again, if somebody invited you to this program, make sure that you get back with them and ask them how you can get the products that Dr. Wallach and myself are speaking of today, so that you can start working on a different health journey towards better health. So I'm going to say, Ms. Lewis, welcome to Ask Doc Live. Let me get, if you could unmute yourself, that would be fabulous. There you go.
No.
Yep, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
How can we help you today?
Well, I have a friend who recently contacted Lyme disease, and she's wondering if can you get rid of that?
Okay, I didn't quite hear what disease it was. You're speaking too softly.
I'm sorry, Lyme disease, Lyme. She got bitten by a tick.
Okay. Well, the first thing she needs to do is stay away from ticks. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Do you know how much she weighs?
I don't have any of her statistics.
Okay, well, let's just go by 100 pounds. Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
She needs to stay away from the bad foods so her immune system can focus on getting rid of the Lyme disease. Okay. Absolutely no fried foods, no processed meats of any kind. We're talking about bacon, ham, bologna, salami, hot dogs, that sort of stuff, pastrami, pepperoni, jerky. Then also needs to stay away from oils, cooking oils, salad dressings, those kind of things, even olive oil. Need to stay away from gluten, wheat, bran, around oats, and stay away from buckwheat, which has phagopyrines in it, which is kind of a cousin to lupus, a cousin to gluten. And it's one of those things where they'll say on the buckwheat packages, gluten-free, which is true. But the gluten in buckwheat is called phagopyrine, okay? And so they can honestly say there's no, quote, gluten, unquote, in there, but because it's phagopyrines, okay? So no wheat, barley, rye, oats, and no buckwheat, no peanuts. I had a question yesterday. I was doing a recording, a Zoom, with one of my favorite judges, Napolitano, and he was asking about peanuts. And I was telling him about peanuts, how that's the last food. If that's the last food in the earth, don't eat it, okay? Because peanuts grow in the ground and they get infested with a fungus called Aspergillus flavus, which produce aflatoxins, which produce liver cancer. And I learned that and published the story. It was the first story published on this ever. When I came back from Africa, Marlon Perkins, who had gotten that big $25 million grant for me to do the big study, 20,000 autopsies, he said, well, before you start that, here's my list of things I want you to do. And so I couldn't refuse Marlon Perkins from the old Mutual Wild Kingdom show, whom I'd worked with for many years. And the first thing on the list was all the species of bears around the world, in every country in the world, were dying of liver cancer. Didn't matter, polar bears, grizzly bears, black bears, brown bears, okay, every kind of bear you can think of were dying of liver cancer. Well, I just sat down and started looking at what the common thread was between all these different bears in all these different countries. They all sold peanuts, okay, to fund their zoo activities, pay the employees and pay the electric bill and all that kind of stuff. They sold peanuts when people walk in the door or the gate. And then the people would throw the peanuts at the bears standing up, waving their paws. Hey, give me the peanuts, give me the peanuts. Well, it turns out that all this, the nuts, things like walnuts and pecans and filberts and those kind of things are safe because they're grown on trees. But peanuts grow in the ground, they get contaminated with this Aspergillus flavus, and they get this fungus as aflatoxin, which creates liver cancer. So we changed the sale of peanuts in zoos to dog food, the little dog food pellets in a little plastic bag. The bears were happy with that. Within 90 days, all the deaths all over the world in bears from liver cancer stopped. It was published in let's see here, I guess it's the Zoo Animal yearbook. There you go. And this is a worldwide thing. And so this was, nobody had ever thought of that before. So, and all these people are getting liver cancer and they go to the bars all the time. It's not the alcohol causing the liver cancer, it's the peanuts they're eating with their beer that cause the liver cancer. Got it? So that's why no peanuts. Okay. Then absolutely no, let's see here, no carbonated drinks. Carbonation neutralizes stomach acid, so you cannot absorb minerals or digest food. No salt. No, you must eat salt. You have to have salt. Okay, no carbonated drinks and no sugar. There you go, no sugar. Absolutely no sugar. Okay, no sugar. No sugar. I don't know how to say it often enough. Okay, no sugar. And then I want you to tell her per 100 pounds of body weight, she's to take one healthy brain and heart pack per month. It has 215 nutrients in it, including the 90 is the core, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 minutes to 3 fatty acids. And then I want her to also have the MSM. And the MSM, I want her to take one bottle a month per 100 pounds of body weight. It'll be 3 at breakfast, 3 at dinner time. And they're designed to support and promote maintenance, repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between vertebrae, bone matrix, including the bone marrow, which is your immune system. And the bone marrow produces the white blood cells, and the antibodies are going to go kill and eat the virus. Okay, so she needs that MSM to make that happen. Then we want to also have the collagen peptides is also a support for the bone marrow. Okay, your immune system. Get two canisters a month, so you take a scoop of that with breakfast drink, a scoop of the evening drink. And then I also want her to have our vitamin D3, take 3 of those twice a day, it's 2 bottles a month to make sure everything's being absorbed properly, put in the proper place. And then I want her to get 2 bottles of our colloidal silver per month. Okay, these are dropper bottles. And I want her to take 2 droppers full, half hour before each meal and half hour before bed. On the left side of the tongue. On the right side of the tongue. There's no alcohol in it. It doesn't burn. It looks like water, tastes like water, smells like water. And so it's quite safe. It was used as an antibiotic of the day for thousands and thousands of years before the Old Testament. It only fell into disrepute at the hands of medical doctors in 1936 when they came out with penicillin, and you had to go to their office to get a prescription. And they went for the prescription drug, okay? And so the colloidal silver will kill all viruses, fungus, and yeast, including Lyme's disease. Okay? Never fails.
Well, I have a friend who also has it, and she's had it for years.
Well, she's got to do the same thing.
Yeah, well, her mother says she can't get rid of it. Can you get rid of it by your protocol?
Yeah, of course. We do this all the time.
Good. The other person has been on antibiotics for years, and she still hasn't gotten rid of.
Well, antibiotics don't kill viruses.
I know.
Sounds fishy to me.
Well, but people don't know how to treat things, so.
Oh, here's one of my favorite books. This has been made into 9 languages.
Yeah.
The CD is in 9 languages.
I've read it.
And so every family needs to have this book, and you can read a couple of paragraphs, once a week, and when the family gathering or something like that. But it will blow your mind how many things we know the doctors consciously don't share with their patients. Okay. And so Only dead doctors don't lie.
Right. I read that book.
Okay, well, make sure these two gals read the book too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can contact
Well, they can go to drjwallach.com, Dr.
Okay.
Wallach,
okay, I
and
didn't know if you
find
wanted
that
me.
book.
Yeah, okay, drjwallach.com, drjwallach.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And
Oh, no, give me that slowly, please.
drjwallach.com, www.drjwallach.com. That's the initial J, Wallach, WALLACH.com. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Let us know how she does, because she'll have a great story.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. And Dr. Wallach, many,
ma'am.
many years ago, and maybe you can tell me how many, or maybe he can tell me how many, a gentleman put you on the radio. And I have to say thank you to this gentleman, Michael Zerling, for putting you on the radio, because it was that radio program that I was able to find you through. And I didn't know he was going to be on here, and I don't know if he knows it, but he's spotlighted right now. MZ, Michael Zerling, thank you so much for joining us on your vacation. Thank you for putting Doc on the radio so that we could hear him around the world, because it's because of you that I'm able to be here right now with
Well, you're
Dr.
taking it to the next level, Becca. And I appreciate that very much. Radio is still happening. Many, hundreds of millions of people still listen to radio. But more than that, every day are moving into digital forms of communications. And that's why what you are doing with Doc now is elevating him to the next level as far as media is concerned. And I'm very excited about making changes and additions to what will certainly expand our world way beyond where it is right now. And you and Jonty are a major part of that. So it sounds like the Mutual Admiration Society, but it is, because
Okay, and Michael, what was the exact date we started the radio together?
September 15th, 1996. Now, you had already been on KSCO, my station in Santa Cruz, California, Silicon Valley area, for a couple of years before that, Doc. When you first contacted me, and it was in November of 1994, and you were interested in doing a once a week, 1 hour program about alternative health. That would be a call-in show that people can, call in and ask questions and interact with you. And I said, you're going to be using this to some sort of business. He said, yeah, I sell high quality, premium quality health supplements. So, we put you on at 7 a.m. on Sundays, which is wasn't a very good time, but your message was so powerful that it became a huge time. People kept calling you hear this amazing doctor on, it's worth getting up early on the weekend to listen to, so and that expanded from 7 a.m. for an hour on Sundays to 7 a.m. an hour on Saturdays. And I knew you for almost 2 years before I realized that you use this amazing personal networking form of business model, sort of like Amway. That a lot of people don't like Amway because you put the bite on friends and relatives to buy vitamins or soap from you. And I like to have people be excited seeing me coming down the street, not looking to duck around a corner before I see them. But the way you did network marketing, when I found out, again, almost 2 years after I knew you, I said, now this is amazing. You were using the power of interactive talk radio, which, if you think about it, is the original social medium, right? Talk radio is the original social medium. So you were using that very effectively and combining it with the power of network or relationship marketing. And how can you lose? Well, I guess one way you could have lost is if you had a lousy product, which you didn't. You have a great product, the best product. So the combination is a marriage made in heaven. And I'm so excited about using technology even more so than we have been, with these Zoom meetings and so forth. I think there's nothing more beneficial and to a beneficial way to use your time to spread your message than to continue to use radio. But you use radio more in the form of a digital media like this. Why can't we run Zoom meetings on the radio? No one's ever done it, but why don't we?
Well, Rebecca's done a super job of intermixing the self-help health issues with the interactive radio, and also then with our home-based business. I prefer to call it a home-based business. And this is something, if you work for a big factory and you're a big person in a factory and everything like that, and you die, can you leave your job to your family? No. But with us, when you build a wonderful, functioning, progressive, helpful, community supporting business, home-based business, you're paying wholesale for the products. We pay shipping if you get on auto ship. When you die, it goes to your family, and your family continues it. So you want to incorporate your family in one way or another into this organization, that you belong to. So when the time comes, it's just an easy step. Okay, just the mailing address changes.
Right. It's true. We've done it many times over the 26 wonderful years I have been associated with Longevity, your company, and several months before that, even with the old company that became part of the new company. So
yeah, and we progressed in many ways. We progressed just by growth. We also progressed. We've actually acquired dozens of companies that had great products, and they were struggling because of marketing issues. And so we bought the companies because they had great products. And so we have programs for 600 different diseases, Michael. We have 5,000 products. We have 5,000 products that are just flying out the door. We're working in 80 countries. We have 60 warehouses around the world. And so we're not a small thing.
Right.
And so we appreciate all the help and support we've gotten from your organization. It's just been great. And it's only the beginning.
I was going to say that, Doc, and you beat me to the punch. You ain't seen nothing yet. And one of the brilliant things that you and Steve did early on in 1997 was you came up with the concept of using what started out as your radio show and is now branching off into all forms of digital media right now.
Yes.
But you have but the radio show was sort of a unique tool back then. And you and Steve got your heads together and said, hey, this is such a valuable tool that it should be made available throughout the company, which was called American Longevity at the time, and later, morphed into the name Longevity.
Yeah, we were having struggles getting our company into foreign countries with the name American Longevity. So we had to change the name to Longevity.
Right. But here's the thing that was absolutely brilliant on the part of you and Steve. You decided that the radio show, which was only the radio show, that now we're branching off into commercials and Zoom meetings and podcasts and all kinds of things. But back in those days, it was only the radio show, and you and Steve decided that this is potentially the most incredible, powerful tool that can be harnessed by any network marketing company. Now, other network marketing companies, the top distributors would get together and they would form little subgroups that would buy commercials. But I came up with the idea of signing up radio stations, starting with my own as a guinea pig, as an actual quote unquote distributor. And it worked. It worked like a charm. You and I together created an amazing program that turned out to be replicatable on other radio stations. But here's the best thing. You and Steve decided that since I was personally recruited by you, okay, that it would be no problem, that no one would scream bloody murder if I went into other lines in the company. The reverse was absolutely not doable. You can't take someone and put them into somebody else's downline without their upline screaming, "Hey, how dare you do that? You can't take so and so away from me. I brought him to the party. Can't do that." Well, with me, it wasn't that way at all. So you and Steve came up with the idea of, if you want to use media, which at that time only included the radio show, then you can't go over to MZ's downline, but he can come over and start a leg under you and build the media under that. And that happened so many times, and that became power legs for so many people in the company. So that was absolute genius. And I salute you and Steve for coming up with that idea.
Well, you know what they say in Hollywood, you ain't seen nothing yet. Maybe it's Broadway, I don't know. You ain't seen nothing yet. This coming new year, we're breaking open new things that's going to blow your mind.
Well, see, and I don't even know about that, and I probably shouldn't say this, but we're going to be doing some things with commercials, making commercials available to media companies, both traditional media companies, primarily radio, which is what I know better than anything, but also television and print and and other publications. Not only podcasts and blogs and digital media, but these commercials are going to be available. And anybody who wants to use these commercials, let me know, and we'll probably be able to set up a leg where we can work together. But I can go under you, not the other way around, if we're cross line, if we're not in the same line already. Okay, so there you have it. So we've got some pretty exciting things planned. And I'm excited about making the optimal use of your time going forward.
I appreciate that. That because, like I say, we're in 80 countries, and like yesterday, I did a Zoom into Canada, which is recorded, and they'll play it again tomorrow. And then this evening, I do a Zoom. I've been doing it for, I don't know, close to 3 years now in Australia, every Friday night in Australia with Jamel, okay? And then every other Thursday, I do Zooms into the Philippines, okay? And
with Ted Soriano,
yeah. And so also we do Zooms into Europe, okay? Into Spain and Italy and the UK and so forth. And these things are growing like crazy because they don't have what we have. And, just even to ship a book, the shipping for shipping one book into Europe is $50, just the shipping to pay the shipping. The book costs $25 and the shipping costs $50.
Wow.
But see, they can't put a price on the airwaves. And so that's why we're going that direction.
Yeah. Good. And there's more to come, a lot more to come.
So. Well, thank you so much. And for the 26-year beginning, I'm not going to say history because it's just the beginning. In one form or another, we're going to be expanding through your efforts and everything. We're appreciative of that. And so this is going to be an amazing thing for all of our members, all of our customers, all of our associates. And just remember, we're almost every couple of months, we're acquiring another company that has a
Yeah.
great product or two or three or four or five. And so we're just constantly getting a stream of new products coming in. And of course,
And
comes
the,
with the
the
people.
culture and
Yeah.
don't forget the culture of the people who love the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, the people come along with the products and they
Yeah.
say, oh my gosh, we didn't realize there was so many products available. And so they're happy for the merger and so forth. So we've never done one where people were unhappy with the merger because it's something that they actually gain a considerable amount of more access to more products, more information, more education, and we always pay on time.
Right. That's great. It's wonderful. It's a business conceived and made in heaven. It really is.
Okay, well, thank you. Coming from you, we appreciate that, Michael. You were an icon in the media industry, and we cannot thank you enough for joining us and being part of the family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Michael, can you have a leg under me?
Start it tomorrow. Start it tomorrow. I'd love to. Oh God, what an honor to have you in my upline. Holy Christmas. It's great to have you in the downline, but to have you in the upline, whoa, this is the greatest day ever for me.
Well, Michael, thank you so much again. I know you're on vacation. I didn't know you were going to be jumping.
Actually,
on the bus.
we're done. We're done. We stepped off the cruise yesterday in San Francisco. Poor Amy got a sore throat, so we are separated because I didn't want to catch it. Was that a
Oh,
terrible
no.
thing? But
Yeah,
anyhow,
that
she's
is.
Michael,
Colloidal
Michael,
silver, killer biotic.
colloidal silver, killer biotic, colloidal silver. And then
I'm on my way to the Dave Cave right now. I'm sure we have it all in stock.
oh yeah, you've got it at the Dave Cave.
Right.
Zinc FX,
Okay.
immune FX.
Right.
Doc, I
I
wanted
can't-
to say something.
I
Go
can't
ahead.
tell you how many of the chewable vitamin C's I consumed in the several hundreds on the 10-day cruise,
They're
because
yummy.
and through this whole COVID thing, neither Amy nor I have contracted COVID, even though we have been exposed hundreds of times to people who got it. And we'd had dinner with them, not realizing they were in the early stages. But we take those products particularly, and I'm getting a whole lot better now about taking BTT myself, because I've been sort of sloppy about that. But I've always taken the chewable vitamin C. I love the taste, and you can't take too many of them, right, Doc?
Oh, you can. You'll get diarrhea if you take too many. Okay, it's one of those.
Well, that'll clean me out. I could use that.
Yeah, you're full of it, so that's a good idea. Take some extra ones. Okay, and then you have to appreciate that was the first. I shouldn't say that. The first supplement that was sold was sea salt. Goes back thousands of years. Okay, sea salt was a big supplement because it not only had sodium chloride, but it had all these minerals in it. Now, people didn't know that. They just knew that sea salt could get rid of goiter. Okay, we're talking 1,000 years ago. They were using sea salt as a commercial item, okay, back then. And then, of course, the British were called limeys because they would eat lime to prevent what? Scurvy? Okay, now they didn't know what was in the limes that prevented and cured scurvy, but they knew that it got rid of it and prevented it. And so the British were the ones who started it. So they were called limeys because they were eating limes to prevent and cure scurvy. So the second supplement available after sea salt was a form of vitamin C, which was the lime juice.
Right. Wow. So yeah, nobody knows the history of so many things as you do, and could tie it all together and say, yeah, that makes sense. That's true.
That sounds like a great podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell's Kitchen. Yes.
It goes into the history.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it's a switch from wood and coal as fuel to electricity and the dams and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was a huge, huge impact on human health. We made that transition from wood and coal, which we were getting our minerals from. And the floods were, renewing the fields every year with the silt minerals. And then we went to dams, okay, hydroelectric dams, we went to electricity, no more wood ashes, no more coal ashes, no more silt in the spring, and created hundreds of new diseases nobody ever seen before, which are all just simple nutritional deficiency diseases. This history book, Hell's Kitchen, everybody, there you go, everybody should have that book in the family. They should read a couple of paragraphs or a chapter or something like that out of it once a week, because it tells you why. You're probably too young, Michael, to remember bone broth.
Well,
Simmer.
I remember it, yeah, and I drink it now.
Okay, yeah, you get it in our bone broth is called. Let's see here.
Well, we have the Fit Shake that has bone broth in it,
Yeah, but
Dr.
also
Wallach.
we have
OsteoFX,
and also
collagen
collagen
peptides.
peptides. See, these are the things that have replaced bone broth because it's a bit sloppy to make bone broth when you're taking vinegar water and putting chicken bones and rib bones and things like that into it and simmering it all night on the wood stove. And so that's why we have this, because people gave up bone broth, which was such a valuable supplement. And so we went to the collagen peptides and the Beyond Osteo to make up the difference. Okay.
Yeah. See, I didn't even know that. There's a reason behind everything.
Oh, yeah.
Doc is very scientific, very methodical. Everything that he does, there's a reason behind it. And with Michael and his experience and vision, there's a lot of great things to come, folks. So make sure that you go to AskDocLive.com and sign up for our newsletter so that you can get information that keeps you up to date as to what we're doing, so that you can get more and more information that is empowering to you and your loved ones. So Michael, did you have anything last that you wanted to say? Because we do have hands up with people wanting to ask questions.
No, please. Yeah, it's you've taken too much time with me. I've totally destroyed this Zoom meeting. So
no, it's great history. People need to know the 26-year history of our media. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Doc. See you guys. I'll be listening.
All right. Thanks, MZ. Love you and Merry Christmas. All right. So, just a little bit of history. There's people within this business are coming from all different areas, all different industries. And it's the thing that I love about it most is it's building people up, not only just on the physical part, but also financially, and building communities. I love our longevity community. I love the community has been created with the Institute of Holistic Health. And you were talking a little bit, Dr. Wallach, about leaving things to your kids. Well, my son, for his 11th birthday, got a longevity business. And I was so proud of him the other day, because he was online with one of his friends, and his friend was coughing and hecking and have a sore throat. And he was giving him information on what he can do on his own to overcome that. And that's
he's
at
only 11.
Folks. It's never too early to start training up our children in making them stronger, both physically, mentally, and spiritually.
And financially.
That's right. So it's a great business to get into. It's a great family business to get into, that you work together in your own family, but you also build an even larger family that goes around the world. And I absolutely love that. Well, Dr. Wallach, let's go to Sean. Sean has been patiently waiting. Sean, go ahead and unmute yourself. You are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Sean.
Do you see that unmute?
I do now. Thank you.
You're
Sorry
welcome.
about that little eye
Okay.
issue.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm originally from Vermont and I live in Colorado.
And you live in Colorado?
Yes,
Okay, and how old are you?
61.
Okay, and what's your question?
I have an eye disease. It's similar to macular degeneration or Stargardt's disease. They're really not sure how to categorize it. I've had it since 96. And it just in 2017 took away my driving ability, but it's been stabilized since then. So my question is, have you ever cured some eye disease similar to this? And if so, how long did it take and what was the protocol?
What did they think it was at first?
They thought that I had witnessed a lunar eclipse, so they thought maybe I had fried my eyes that way. But then they decided no, and then they said Stargardt's disease. It's like macular degeneration, but younger folks get it. They told me I would be blind in 3 years. That was back in 96, and I've still maintained my eye
Okay,
vision.
how much do you weigh?
139.
Do you have any diabetes or high blood pressure?
No,
How many times a night do you wake up to urinate? Once, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times?
none.
Okay, good. Do you have any tinnitus, any ringing in the ears?
Yes,
Okay, do you have any dizziness or balance problems?
no,
Okay. Has your voice changed any? Or you're having trouble swallowing, anything like that?
no.
Okay, have you lost your sense of smell?
When I had COVID, but it's back.
Okay, good. All right. Let's see here. Have you ever had Bell's palsy or trigeminal neuralgia in the face, anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. So, Becca, what do you think's going on here?
Well, she also has osteoporosis of the skull, Dr. Wallach, that's
Yes.
affecting those nerves that attach to the eye.
That's why the doctors can't figure out what's going on, because they know nothing about this. Okay, they know nothing about osteoporosis of the skull. Okay, and so they see the pathology, but they don't know what causes it because they don't know about this. Okay, there's 37 different diseases. You get a slow vision loss. Okay, there you go. You get a slow vision loss, which includes macular degeneration. The macula is on the inside lining of the eye, on the back of the eye, where the optic nerve goes into it. Okay, you have to appreciate that the eye is part of the brain.
Right.
Okay, and so in that optic nerve, okay, which is the 10th cranial nerve gets squeezed, that vision can go away. Okay, you get the optic nerve, which is the second cranial nerve. Okay, and so it's one of those things where the nerves, as they get squeezed, have symptoms. And it's not just, sometimes it's an all or nothing thing, but most of the time it's a gradual loss of function. Okay, just like tinnitus, ringing in the ears. That's the auditory branch of the 8th cranial nerve being squeezed. Okay, and so oftentimes you're going to get dizziness, vertigo, that sort of stuff. Do you have any receding gums or dental problems, implants, false teeth, anything like that?
Not too bad. I mean, I have crowns, but I mean,
Okay.
since I was a kid, my
Did
addiction
you go
is
to an
sugar.
orthodontist? Did you go to an orthodontist as a teenager?
No, never did.
Okay.
Couldn't afford that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the optic nerve, cranial nerve number 2, that's one of those things where you're gradually losing your vision. You're getting macular degeneration because that nerve is slowly being squeezed by the skull as the skull is clamping down on it. Okay. And you saw the pictures where the normal skull is a 1/4 inch thick, and the skull in somebody with osteoporosis is 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. And so these tunnels that all the nerves go through and the spinal cord go through, there you go. The top one is normal. You have to lift it up a little bit, lift it up, lift it up, lift it up more, lift it up some more, a little bit more. Okay, the top one is a normal one, 1/4 inch thick. The bottom one has osteoporosis of the skull. It's 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. As you can see, we're be squeezing those tunnels that all those nerves in the spinal cord go through. Okay. So this is reversible very quickly. Weeks, you're going to see benefit. If you follow what Rebecca said, in weeks, you will see benefit. Okay, and we always say, give us 90 days. Give us 90 days, because if
Okay.
you're doing everything correctly, taking all the nutrients we recommend, and you eliminate the bad foods to maximize absorption, okay, guess what? You cannot fail to win. We've been doing this in thousands of people. Used to be every year, then it went to every month, and now it's every day. Thousands of people all over the world, 80 countries. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Sean,
I'll-
what you're gonna need is the brain and heart pack.
Brain and heart.
And
Okay.
at your weight, 1 dose of each per day. And then add in the collagen peptides. That's going to be 2 canisters. So you can take 1 scoop twice a day.
Okay.
MSM Ultra. I would do 3 or 2 bottles so that you can take 3 tablets 3 times a day. And then the Ultimate Daily Classic to make sure that the blood flow is flowing and the veins and everything are clear. That's also going to help to improve blood flow through the eyes. Vitamin D3. Make sure the calcium is being absorbed deep into the bones. And it's our vitamin D3. It has cofactors for best absorption. And then with the eyes, I would also recommend the Occutive. The Occutive gives additional vitamin support. I'm sorry?
I was just repeating what you said.
Occutive. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
And-
and so you should be good with 1 bottle a month. And I want to share with everybody, the way that the longevity packaging has been made, every canister or every bottle is designed to have enough for 30 days. So if there's 120 tablets or capsules in that bottle, divide that by 30, and you've got 4 per day, and then split that up throughout the day. So you take that 4 and do 2 twice a day. And that's per 100 pounds. So if you're over 150 pounds, you double it. It's real simple. But they're not going to do anything for you just sitting on the counter, sitting on the shelf, or sitting in the website. We got
Do
to
you
make
have
sure
to
we
take it with food? I'm sorry.
No, that's a great question. So don't be sorry. Food, you can take them with food or without food. The
Okay.
vitamins that you want to make sure that you do take with food because they're fat soluble are going to be your essential fatty acids, your vitamin D3.
Okay.
And Becca, how long do you have to take these nutrients?
Well, you got to take the 90 essential nutrients as long as you want to breathe oxygen.
You know, how long do you actually factually need them?
Well, until the day that you are no longer breathing oxygen for
Well, there
life.
you go.
That's
and
why
so-
it's 90 for life.
There you go.
Yes.
90.
And this is the mistake this is one of the many mistakes that the medical system does. Oh, okay, well, take vitamin D or take vitamin C until your fever goes away and then you quit. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, because when you quit all your supplements, guess what? You're prone to getting sick again. Now, who's happy when you get sick again?
The pharmaceutical.
The pharmaceutical
That's it.
/ medical industry.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Sean, make sure that you come back. I'm glad you were able to find the option to raise your hand because that's a great
Me
question
too.
that a lot of people are experiencing as having decline in eye conditions that, you know, they don't have to. They don't
Well,
have to.
thank you.
There are, you know, people that are born with birth defects that affect their eyes. You know, what we do is we support the body the best that we absolutely can so it can perform the best that it absolutely can as long as it absolutely can. But we have to be intentional in supporting it because it's not going to do it on its own. So,
Hear that.
Yeah, you can't get these
Yes.
nutrients just by eating well. That's the problem.
no,
Well,
they're no longer
Yeah,
in our-
because the food sources are so much different now.
yeah,
so
most
Yeah,
definitely.
it's the soil, and the water and the fuel. There's so many factors have been involved in getting us down this terrible, terrible hole.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, Dr.
right.
Wallach, or thank you, Sean.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much
Could
for being
you
on with us.
put that protocol in the chat by any chance so I could screenshot it? Is that
Yep,
possible?
one of my co-hosts will do that for you. So go
Thank
ahead and you can, and for you and everybody else, if you have conditions that you would like to know exactly what you need to take and you're not able to come on the show with us today, or you're watching the replay, not able to ask, live, go to askdoclive.com. That's ASKDOCLIV as in Victor, E as in elephant.com, and use the contact us. And you'll be able to contact us and we can help you get the protocol that you need. And make sure you let us know who you are working with so that we can make sure that they get the credit for sharing our program with you. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
you're very welcome. Very welcome. I know that we have questions that have come up in the chat that we're not able to get to today. So please, folks, go to our website and use that contact us if you've asked a question and we are not able to get to you. So I do want to read, and then we're going to go to our next hand that's up, Dr. Wallach. I want to read something that came in. Oh, it's not coming up quickly. Okay, so, he wrote a book. So Ryan said, he's doing the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack full dose twice a day, MSM Ultra, collagen peptides, sweeties, for the longevity products, and then a couple that are not longevity products, which are vitamin D. Ryan would be a great one to substitute for those. And the improvements and symptoms that he has felt since last week, Dr. Wallach, he has significantly less or no more symptoms of hypoglycemia, tachycardia, vertigo, noisy joints, pain in his feet when sitting and standing, and spider veins. So he did mention some things that he is still experiencing. And Ryan, it's only been a week, buddy. Give us 90 days. And all those things that or the majority of those things that you are still experiencing are going to diminish or completely go away. That's just how our body works when it's given the raw ingredients that it actually needs to function at its optimal best. So keep going, Ryan. You're doing great. Now let's go to Deborah. Deborah, go ahead and unmute yourself. You're
Hello.
on Live with Doc.
Hi, Doc. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. So I've got a couple of, this is a simple question, but I've got a lot of clients that ask this question because sometimes you can search online for the different ranges of things and you don't know whether these ranges are correct or not. And the ones that they're asking is, what is the normal blood pressure? What is the normal cholesterol level? And is the good versus the bad cholesterol? What is the normal blood sugar range? And what is the normal A1C?
Okay, I'm going to let you go to Siri and ask Siri those questions.
Okay, so what's there is going to be good.
I'm sorry?
So what I get there is going to be good.
Yes.
Okay.
See, knowing what's normal, and it's a range, okay, it'll be from A to B, okay, it'll give you a range. And so I don't want to be the one to do that. You get it from Siri. And what should I say? And this is medical information. And so I just want you to get it from Siri.
Okay, what about the cholesterol, the good and the bad cholesterol?
Get it from Siri.
Okay.
But let's expound upon that answer on Dr. Wallach, because their values that they give are much lower than what the body actually needs when it comes to the good cholesterol, right?
Well, That's correct. Okay, because again, the medical system believes that cholesterol blocks your arteries and causes all other kind of problems. And so they'll look at the blood samples of 50,000 people who come through the medical system, and the medical schools will go through and say, okay, well, here's the average, and we'll call that the normal. Okay, and so that's where they get those numbers. Sometimes there's an experiment involved with it, but usually they're just acquiring information from physical examination data, blood tests, and that kind of stuff. And so I'd rather go that direction rather than me give those numbers. If you want to get those kind of numbers from me, you would have to give me a 1-year advance notice.
All right.
Okay, because I would do a lot of research, okay, before I decide whether their numbers are correct or not.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
All right. Thank you, Deborah. Great questions. Well, Dr. Wallach, we are coming to the top of the hour, and if I could get my co-hosts added on here, I would greatly appreciate it, because I want to make sure that all of you know how much we appreciate you, and we want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And so Michael is actually, this is the brainchild of Michael Zerling, who was on with us a little bit ago. He's the one that says, hey, let's create Ask Doc Live. Becca, will you host it? And I'm like, yes. So I just want to say thank you to Michael for bringing us all here together, because he's the one that started it with Dr. Wallach, who connected with Michael 26 years ago. And we're able to bring empowering information, folks, things that you can do on your own through intentional supplementation as a response to poor health. And if you would like to get more information or see this replay or any of our replays, go to AskDocLive.com. We have the good foods, bad foods list that Dr. Wallach mentions. And we have protocol. We don't have protocols there. Yes, we do, because we have all of the replays from Ask Doc Live. So, Dr. Wallach, thank you so much for being on with us once more. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you all are able to surround yourself with loved ones or cherish the memories of those that you love, and have a wonderful rest of the year. We will be here next week to provide more information about what you can do to help yourself, your communities, and all those around you. Nasima, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, well, you came up as a spotlight for me.
Oh,
and
I
all the
did.
rest went away.
Well, I might as well say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, stepping into the new year. Come on board again next Friday. We're here every Friday, and stay warm and safe travels.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
Well,
back to you.
blessings to you all. Yes, safe travels. We've got a lot of severe winter going on right now all around the world that is experiencing winter, because I know some places it's summer, but be safe, everybody. For those of you who do celebrate Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas, and we will see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And
Merry
don't
Christmas,
forget
everybody.
the pets. Don't
Oh, and
forget your
don't forget
pets,
your
everybody, in the
pets.
cold. Yep.
That's right. Make sure you bring your pets out of the cold, and take care of them, because they are part of the family as well. So even the horses, the dogs, the cats, and just keep smiling, everybody. I'd love to see those smiles. You guys are awesome. Bye for now.